one of the best fuchsia gardens in Southern California. Now for our next story. You might recognize this Hawthorne man. He used to hand out t-shirts in grocery store parking lots, but thanks to a local businessman, this entrepreneur has a new home. Kevin Johns, better known as Kebo, used to give away t-shirts out of the trunk of his car, but that changed when he met Aurelio Matucci.
We met in a parking lot, and I was just leaving a grocery store. And on my way in to my car, he approached me from behind, and at first I was a little scared. But just said, sir, I would like to give you one of my T-shirts.
The name Kebo, as printed on the t-shirts, was given to Johns as a childhood nickname. Out of his love for clothes and his compassion to bring cultures together, Kebo transformed his name to stand for Clothes Everybody Owns, an anti-discrimination message he hopes will spread as people wear his hats and t-shirts.
I was telling what I was trying to do, and then I told him my concept of what I had going, and basically he said, you know what, you seem like you're a nice guy. I want you to come down to my store, and I'll let you set up a booth. And I was like, what? He was like, yeah. I came down the next day. He had the canopy out there for me, and I set it up, and I mean, man, it's just been it's a great blessing to me. And
Kebo admitted, even though he hadn't been asking for money in return for t-shirts and hats, most people weren't as receptive as Matucci.
basically, they looked at it, and that's a good thing. I hope you all the best success and whatnot. And I just like thank you and just keep going.
Um, it just seemed to me that he seemed like one of those people that just needed that little bit of support. He's got a lot of energy, a lot of willpower, and doesn't just give up. But sometimes you just need that little push from a friend or just enough to get you going.
Now when shoppers enter the Tuxedo Depot on Rosecrans and Hawthorne, they'll not only find formal wear, but casual wear too. Well, you wouldn't expect to find a cactus garden right next to a rose garden, but anything is possible here at the South Coast Botanic Garden. I'm here with Dick Holschreiber, and why don't you explain to people, maybe they don't know the difference between a garden and a botanic garden?
Well, botanic garden is like a library for plants. Everything that is in this garden is cataloged so that we know what is here and where it's at. And we have plants from all over the world, which we try out here. So eventually a lot of the things that we try out here will end up in your garden at home.
Okay. But a botanic garden might mean that there's science involved then,
That's
because you
right.
said when you're trying things, you
That's
do
right.
some experiments, right?
That's right. Very, very, very definitely.
And one of the probably biggest experiments that they did here was going from a sanitary landfill in 1961 to what we see today.
Yes, that's correct. Actually, before the landfill, this was a diatomaceous earth mine, so that this was just a huge cavity in the ground here, and then they filled it with trash for years. 3.5 million tons of trash are buried here.
So how did they take it from a dump site to a beautiful botanic garden?
Well, they covered everything with a layer of dirt here, and then eventually started planting everything. Started over on Rolling Hills Road, and eventually came over to Crenshaw here.
So the decomposed trash is still beneath us.
It will take about 100 years before it all decomposes, and in the meantime, it's producing methane gas, and we have sinkage and a lot of different problems here that you don't have in a regular garden.
So you'd walk through here and you just wouldn't expect that, but that's not dangerous for people,
No,
is it?
it's not dangerous at all. No.
Okay. All right, well, now that they know it's not dangerous, tell us when they enter, some of the things that they'll see here.
Okay, well, we have an excellent botanic garden just in the volunteer garden here that is completely operated by volunteers here at the garden. There's always something in bloom throughout the year. From there, you can walk to the cactus garden. We have a good representation of cactus from all over the world. And then if you feel like walking down to the lake, we have a pond or a little lake here where there are ducks, resident ducks that you can feed. Kids love that.
We saw those earlier.
Yes. And then you can come back up and come to the rose garden here, or we have a garden of the senses below here, which is interesting also. So there's a lot of things to see. The main thing is that it's just a nice place to get away from the noise and the traffic, and just a very peaceful type place.
And coming up Labor Day, there's a big event.
At Labor Day, we have a concert here, and you can bring your picnic basket if you'd like, and come a little bit early before the concert, and that's always a nice event.
Well, again, like we said, no matter if you come up here on a holiday or just any other day, I want to make sure we have that map, right? We were walking earlier, and boy, you'll get lost if you don't have this map. So make sure to grab it on your way in.
That's right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Did I forget to mention how beautiful this place was? Now it's time for City Clips for a quick look at the events going on in and around the city.
Most of the Saturday Kids programs at the Hawthorne Library encourage reading through entertainment, but more recently, the agenda had a more serious theme, train safety.
Some people think that it might be fun to put a soda can or a coin or a nail or even a spike from the railroad ties on the train track and to see what happens when a train crosses over that. What do you think will happen when the train comes? Yes. Well, it might run it over. It just might. But what it also could do is the train could tip over.
HCTV Channel 22 will be airing the train safety program in its entirety. Check your schedule for showtimes. It doesn't cost anything to visit the Sea Laboratory in Redondo Beach, but for the kids at the Wiseburn Library, they didn't have to bother with the travel time. Sea Laboratory employees brought some of the sea animals to the Wiseburn Library for a recent Saturday Kids program.
Way back by Gary, he brought things called echinoderms. Everyone say echinoderm. Echinoderm. And what's he holding up? A star. A star. Yeah, we actually don't call stars starfish because it's not a fish. It doesn't swim through the water. It doesn't have any fins. So we call it a sea star.
For more information about the Sea Laboratory, call 310-643-6251. And to find out more about upcoming kids programs at the Wiseburn Library, call 310-643-8880.
Oh, this is Logan's T-Rex.
Kids also packed the Wiseburn Library recently for storytime crafts. As usual, there were crafts, reading, and yes, the hokey pokey. If you're wanting to cool off this summer, come take a swim at the Hawthorne Swimming Pool. New weekend hours just took effect at the end of July. On Saturdays, lap swim is from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., water aerobics are from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., and recreation swim is offered from 1 to 4 in the afternoon. Then on Sundays, lap swim is offered from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. If you need more information about the pool, call 310-970-7230.